Hello and welcome to this special edition of Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. I'm going to open the show as usual, but this week we've invited female guest hosts for each of our segments for this all-women's edition of our show. So let's get started. Well, more women need to be represented on boards and senior management teams for companies to achieve better financial performance, plain and simple. That's the message from Money on the Table author Melissa Greenwell, who also happens to be the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of national retailer The Finish Line. Her gender balance argument doesn't stem from academic or social perspectives necessarily, but from a grounded, experienced executive's point of view. And for more on achieving greater gender balance and how The Finish Line is putting ideas into practice, pleased to welcome Melissa Greenwell. As always, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Gary.
You have been Chief Operating Officer for about 2 years at The Finish Line.
Correct.
You've been with the company for more than 9 years. Just to kind of tee things up, we want to talk about your book, but as you look at the landscape in Indianapolis, generally speaking in Indiana, for women in executive leadership positions, you know, C-suite execs, board positions, how would you characterize it?
Well, we are making some progress, but there is still great opportunity. Women still hold less than 20% of executive positions.
As you look at the reasons, and people will say, why is it so important to have women in executive leadership positions? A number of reasons for that. Among them, some data that points to financial performance.
Right. It's really about the money. I mean, when you think about the power of diversity of thought, to think that most of the time we're missing one of the genders in the gender diversity scenario, then we're absolutely not getting to the best solutions.
You really get at the issue in your book, which you released a little over a year ago, Money on the Table. First of all, what prompted you to write the book?
Yeah. So in 2014, I became involved with an organization called Mentoring Women's Network. It's now Pass the Torch Foundation. And that same year, Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In, was released. And so the media started writing about this topic. You couldn't pick up a paper without seeing an article about the lack of women in senior leadership and on boards. So while there was much attention on this issue and the problem, no one was really talking about what do we do about it, what's the solution. And so that's what Money on the Table is designed to do, to provide the roadmap for a solution. What
are some of the things that lots of organizations talk about wanting to increase and get more gender balance in their organizations? What's stopping them? What are they not doing that maybe they could to change things?
Well, not being thoughtful about how we achieve that, not being deliberate enough. More now means more later, so we really have to build the pipeline early in the process. And then we have to do the things that are necessary to keep female talent. So, as we see people progress through their careers, women progress through their careers, they start to fall out of the workforce about the time they achieve that manager, director level, which is a shame because we've invested so much in this talent, and then they leave our companies and organizations.
Yeah, you have a list of 10 rules, 10 tips in the book that are very interesting. Among them, taking more risks on female employees.
Yes, absolutely. So, women as a gender are more apt to wait to be recognized for their good work, as opposed to always raising their hands like our male colleagues do. And so I think sometimes we have to take a closer look around, and we have to invite someone to take an opportunity. And so that means taking a risk, because we don't always automatically notice those people.
You also talk about creating a brand that is inclusive. Branding is important.
Right.
When you talk about branding in this gender balance situation, what do you mean?
Yeah. So we have to think about how our companies can connect to women and how we market that to women, whether it's a product or a service. We have to think about our culture and how that attracts female talent. What are the great things that we're doing to keep our female talent? And we need to create a brand around that.
I want to touch quickly, you mentioned mentoring, how important that is to the process.
Absolutely. It should be in the job description of every senior executive.
And very quickly, the reaction to the book. You've gotten a lot of reaction.
Yes, great reaction over this last year. I think, too, in the current political climate, we're gaining a little momentum as well. But it's actually gotten a great reaction.
All right. The book is Money on the Table. Melissa Greenwell, the COO at the finish line, the author, getting some great reviews. Melissa, thanks for being on as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right.